What is the natural limit of human performance for 5 and 10 minute and FT power? What is the natural limit? On the left we have Cookie Man Phil Gaimon, untested athlete, no drug testing for Cookie. On the right we have Matthew van der Poel, 75 kilos, around the same height as Cookie. Cookie's about 66 kilos, maybe a little bit less. Look at Cookie's arms. Matthew van der Poel doesn't even really look like a cyclist. He's quite muscular for an elite level cyclist. Cookie has a higher watts per kilo. Cookie is untested. No drug testing for Cookie. Cookie's 5-minute power is world class. World record. The red zone there. The red zone. Cookie's in the red, man. 5-minute power. FT, no worries. 1 minute, no worries. Cookie Man's up there. His 5-minute power is 7.54 kilo, just riding by himself. Upper climb, not racing anyone, just for Strava kicks and giggles. All right, 7.54 watts per kilo. That is at the absolute human limit of anything, drugs or no drugs. So Cookie Man must have an incredible coach to be able to ride this watts, no matter what. So Van der Poel couldn't match that on fresh legs. Van der Poel could not match that on fresh legs. When you want to get a pro contract, they chuck you in the lab and they test you. You have to get tested on the VO2 max, things like that. They want to look at you. What's your numbers? What's your raw data? Show me some raw data in the lab. They'll put you in a machine, on the watt bike and go crunch it out. Cookie Man would destroy Matthew van der Poel based on the data we have here on Strava and other lab tests as well that are up there for public eyes online. So that's pretty impressive, isn't it? A retired 36-year-old rider who wasn't good enough to get an extension on his pro contract that he got through a friend, Tommy D, is putting out the world-class, world record watts per kilo data. So what is the natural limit? That's a good question. Is Cookie Man natural? He says he is, and maybe he is. Maybe the Tooth Fairy, maybe Jesus, and maybe Santa Claus all arrived in Los Angeles and gave Cookie some magic natty cookies. All right. But what we do know, based on the data, Cookie Man is at the top tier of cycling. These lab numbers, they're not based on what you can do at 200 Ks or 400 Ks. They're based on walk into a lab, jump on the bike, and let's rock and roll. What can you do? Cookie Man is number 1. Van der Poel is number 2. A lot of noobs out there go, but it's what you can do after 200 Ks that matters. I mean, it's not. I mean, it does, but you got to put the power out first. All right? You don't magically hit 200K and go, when all of a sudden I can do power. I couldn't do it in the lab on fresh legs. If you can't do it on fresh legs in the lab, how are you going to do it on race day? When you're drafting your team for 3 or 4 hours, your team's getting your bottles, your team's blocking the wind for you, and you're sitting in the bunch, 200, 250, 300 watts. 300 watts for someone like Van der Poel is like talking pace. Talking pace. When you go and get a contract, you go to show in the lab what you can do. Okay? In the lab, they test your hemoglobin and then they chuck you on the bike. What can you do? Because they don't want to hire someone they think is on the gas. They want to get some natural, raw talent. That's how it works. All right? And then maybe they chuck in the gas. But that's the deal. All right? It's your fresh leg watts per kilo that gets you the contract. Now the question might be, well, Cookie Man puts out a better watts per kilo than Valverde. How come Valverde has a contract and Cookie Man doesn't? Well, my question to that is, maybe they think Cookie Man wouldn't pass the doping tests. That's my personal opinion. End of the day, take whatever you want to take, people, but don't go around doing 7.5 watts per kilo with a soap bar tattoo. It just makes you look like a real hypocrite.